ביאור משנה י"א, the explanation of משנה י"א. משנתנו מסיפה ללמד. Our Mishnah is going to continue to teach us בעניין שפיכת מים בשבת בחצר שהיא פתוחה מ-400. So you have a yard less than 4 אמות. Less than 4 אמות, so you need to make a new car, and if you didn't make a new car, what to do? Let's see. וכן, ויש שאין גורסים תיבת וכן. Okay, there are in some places it doesn't say וכן, which means it's not a continuation of the previous Mishnah. שתי דיוטאות. What happens if you've got 2 rows of houses? 1 row of house over here, and 1 row of house right next to it, but not attached. They share a common courtyard, but the common courtyard is less than 4 by 4. Let's see. I think that's what it is. שתי דיוטאות, שתי שורות של בניינים בעלי קומות. You have 2 rows of houses that has, apartments. זו כנגד זו, and they're against each other, they're opposite each other. בשני צדי החצר שהיא פחותה מ-400. And this courtyard is less than 4 אמות. So in other words, between this house and between this house, if you count all the courtyard, it's less than 4 אמות. So now, here comes the problem. What happens? מקצתן עשו עוקה. The ones on the right made a hole. The ones on the left did not make a hole. Right? So, מקצתן עשו עוקה. The ones on the right made a hole. אם בני הדיוטה האחת עשו עוקה, ומקצתן לא עשו עוקה, and the other courtyard, the other people on the other side did not make a hole. ובני הדיוטה האחרת לא עשו עוקה, את שעשו עוקה מותרים, the one that made a hole are permitted. They're permitted to what? To use the עוקה. לשפוך מימיהם בחצר. To pour water in that courtyard. ואת שלא עשו עוקה אסורים. And the one that did make a zeu, they're forbidden. It says, why should they be forbidden? It's going to go into that hole. Why should they be forbidden? בגמרא מבואר, in the Gemara it explains, שמדובר במשנתנו כשלא ערבו הדיוטאות זו עם זו. This is a case...
לא צריך לערבב, זה בעצם פורעם.
The courtyard is in common between the two.
4 by 4.
Yeah, it's 4 by 4, which means you're allowed to pour your water on your 2. These guys have 2 amot, and this guy have 2 amot, right?
זה לא כבר לא, זה רשות מה זה קטן מדי, לא?
That's right. You cannot pour. You're not allowed to pour water in your side, unless you make a new car. But you say, I don't care. My water is going to run over to their hole. So what's the difference? It says, if there's an eruv, you're right. There's no difference. But you guys didn't make an eruv. That's the problem. בגמרא מבואר, in the Gemara it explains, שמדובר במשנתנו כשלא ירבו הדיוטאות. These 2 row of houses did not make an eruv between them. זו עם זו, this one with this one, שאף על פי ששופכים ימיהם בתוך בתיהם, even though they might even pour in their houses, והמים יורדים משם לעוקה שבחצר, והרי זה מותר. And the water is going to come to the עוקה that's in the courtyard, and this is permissible. שלא אסרו חכמים שפיכת המים לחצר, שאינה מעורבת מכוחו של השופך בביתו. It says, I didn't even go out to the courtyard. I have a channel on my roof. I poured it on my roof. It went into the channel and it goes down. What do you want from me? מכל מקום גזרו חכמים. But over here the sages were scared. What were the sages scared? He says, if those guys do it on the right hand side where they have the hole, it's not a problem. It can go in straight into the hole. Right? It says, you know what I'm afraid is going to happen? שמא לא ירצו ללכלך בתיהם, this side, the guys did not make a hookah, yes, they're allowed to pour into the roof and to go down. They're allowed to pour into their own, let's say even into the zeu. The problem is, I'm afraid they will not want to pour into the roof because it's dirty water. They will walk out and then they will carry their pot and they will carry it to the other side to put it in that hole. That's what I'm scared about. Otherwise, if they will do it in their house, it will go by themselves, it's not a problem. That's what I'm scared about. ויבואו להוציא את כלי השופכים מבתיהם לחצר שאינה מעורבת, and they're going to carry their vessels into a courtyard that doesn't have an עירוב, כדי לשפוך את המים בעוקה. They will pour the water directly into that hole that's far away from them. אבל אם ערבו הדיוטות זו עם זו, but if the two דיוטות made an עירוב between each other, אף על פי שאין שם אלא עוקה אחת, even though there's only one hole, שאיננה מחזקת אלא סתיים מהמלבד, and it's only holding a small amount, מכל מקום מותר לכל הדיירים לשפוך מימיהם באותו חצר. Everybody is allowed to pour the water into that courtyard. שכן שלנו בברייתא, אחת לי יוקה ואחת לי גיסטרה. He says it doesn't matter if it's a hole or it's a chamber pot. It's the same thing. בריכה ועריבה, אף על פי שנתעלמו מים בערב שבת, שופכים לתוכם מים בשבת. Even though they filled water from before Shabbat, you're allowed to pour the water on Shabbat. כלומר, which means, שמאחר שתקנו חכמים עוקה כזכר לשבת, once the sages established that you need to make a ukah, why they told you to put an ukah? So that you can remember today is Shabbat, that you're not going to go into the public domain. As long as you remember it's Shabbat, we're already happy. It's just for you to remember. The fact that it's not going to overflow, that's not the point. As long as you remember it's Shabbat, you're pouring into it, we're good. שלא ישכח אדם וישפוך בעצמו את המים לרשות הבאים. You're only worried that you're going to go out into the street. Once you have a ukah, we're not going to worry that it's have enough water over there. You know? You're not going to go into the public domain. It's only for you to remember public domain. You don't really need it. שוב לא גזרו, they didn't make a decree. ולא נתנו דבריהם לשיעורים. And therefore they didn't make, they said if there's two people on the field, you need to make it larger or larger or larger. Yeah. You can have 1,000 people.
4 by 4 by...
As long as they remember, they're not allowed to go into the public domain, they pour it into that hole, and from that hole it goes out. That's good enough for me. That's all I need from them. I need them to remember it's Shabbat. That's what I care about. הילקח מותר לכל בני החצר לשפוך מימיהם בחצרם. Therefore we're going to allow all them, if there's an עירוב, everybody is allowed to pour the water in the courtyard. אף שאין בה אלא עוקה אחת המחזקת סתיים מים. Even though there's only one small hole. כשיעור שאדם אחד בלבד מסתפק בכל יום. Even just one person, even you have 1,000,000 people, theoretically. If you have a hole for one person, everybody remembers to put into that hole, and then it's going to flow out. That's not your problem. It's allowed to flow out. And we finished the 8th chapter.